Alongside Brent Hubbs, I'm Austin Price with a Tennessee take. Tennessee picking up Katron Evans on this Saturday. Huge get here, Brent, not just because it's a position of need at defensive tackle, but he's just a huge kid, 6'5", over 300 pounds. He's a mover in the defensive trenches.
Yeah, he certainly is, Austin. And I think this is a guy that when you look at what Tennessee has, what they have needs for, left on the board, and you look at this recruiting class and all the great things they've assembled, I think it's still about getting big bodies and getting defensive linemen. When you lose seven seniors on the defensive line, you got to replace those bodies in this class. And they need defensive linemen, and they need defensive linemen who can play. And this is a guy who plays at a program that is that they play high level football. Okay, there's no question about the competition level he plays against. He's been very effective against everybody he plays against, and Tennessee's beat out a lot of good schools, a lot of good SEC schools, a lot of good powers around the country for Evans. So I think this is a huge pickup for Tennessee.
Yeah, I do too. When you look at what Katron does, he's powerful, he's quick off the ball, and he can just kind of plug. He can plug the hole. He moves the pile. He's strong, and again, I do think what you just said about how he plays at a program there in St. Francis in Baltimore. He has other guys around him, so he's used to playing around good players, and he still finds a way to stand out. That to me is a sign of a really solid player. He does pick Tennessee over Alabama and several other big-time programs, including a hot Maryland team, even though they've not had a ton of success. When you look at what Loxley and them have done in the state of Maryland up there and in surrounding areas, it's been super impressive with the haul they've brought in. So to be able to get him away, to me, was a big get for Tennessee. Where does Tennessee go from here? Tennessee still wants to attack the line of scrimmage on both sides the rest of this class, especially on the defensive line with guys like Javari Ritzy, Tyrion Ingram Dawkins. Tennessee wants to get bigger, more athletic, and just more explosive on the defensive line.
Well, I think you said it best in the word athletic, and that's not a knock on what they're losing, but so much of what they have for the last year or two has just been, hey, fill a gap, hold up a gap, so that we can take the linebackers and let them go make some plays. Jeremy Pruitt's made it no secret. He wants his defensive linemen to make their own plays. He wants them to push the pocket, wants them to create havoc in there more than just occupying space. And so I think when you look at what they're getting with Evans from his athletic ability at 300 pounds, I think that's important. And then you talk about trying to dip down into Tar Heel State with Ritzy and some of those guys that you're talking about there. You watch the tape of them, they're not just guys who eat up space. They're guys who are big bodies, but they're guys who can move the pile. They're guys who can go make plays, and guys that the offensive line has to deal with. And it's not just about those guys, hey, occupy a couple people so the linebacker can make it on a blitz or that type of thing. These are guys who can go make plays. And I think Jeremy Pruitt wants to turn his defensive line into much more of a playmaking defensive line than what they've had the last couple of years.
Moving off of maybe that particular position and more so onto the area, Tennessee clearly wants to continue to recruit the DMV up into the D.C. Baltimore area. And Joe Ossovet has got deep ties in that area. Tennessee got Dominic Bailey a year ago. Obviously, today they get Katron Evans. Tomorrow, Aaron Willis is set to make his announcement. That's Evans' teammate, the middle linebacker, who's very explosive. And if you like big hits in a huddle film, then you go watch him. Hit everybody. So, Brent, I think when you look at the grand scheme of things, Tennessee wants to get into programs that win. Jeremy Pruitt wants players that know how to win. And, this one today fits that bill.
Well, it does, and I'm glad you brought up Joe Ossovet, because I think it's important for him to get some credit here and to be recognized for what he's done. Before COVID-19 hit and the elimination of on-campus visits, Joe Ossovet was getting a lot of big-time players and teams, almost entire teams from up in that Maryland, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, up in that area there where he has tried to work. And look, we have seen schools like Georgia, Florida, some other SEC programs, Austin, have gone up there and found success because of some of the ties that their staff has. Jeremy Pruitt, one of the reasons Joe Ossovet got the promotion to full-time on-the-field assistant coach was his ability to recruit. And he had worked a lot of relationships as a coach who could only work the phone and got guys to come down to go to camp or got guys to come and take a look at Tennessee to the point that Jeremy Pruitt felt comfortable putting him on staff to go on the road recruiting, and you're seeing some early dividends. This is a big get for Joe Ossavet. For Joe Ossavet, and just a few short months on the job, officially as a full-time assistant, to go beat out in-state Maryland, as you mentioned, with Loxley, who's making the state a priority, to go beat out Alabama, some other Big Ten schools up in that area for this prospect and this player is a great get for Tennessee to continue to try to establish themselves in that area, an area they clearly want to recruit.
So Tennessee picks up another big-time commitment. 4-star Katron Evans picks the Vols over Alabama, home state Maryland, and several other schools. For complete coverage, go to VolQuest.com.